The unwelcome arrival of the space station Orbitus Prime was always busy. Every day, new aliens and travelers arrived, bringing fresh stories, strange smells, and noisy laughter. But today, something different was about to happen. At Docking Bay 12, a human named Alex stepped out of a small rusty ship. He looked tired, wearing an old jacket and carrying only one small cage in his hands. The cage was covered with a cloth, and something inside it moved slowly. A crowd of aliens gathered around, curious. The tallest one, a lizard-like creature, named Griv, pointed and laughed. "Hey, look. Is that your lunch or your pet?" Others joined in, snickering and making jokes in their own languages. Alex ignored them, but he gripped the cage tightly. Inside the cage, a strange little animal huddled in the corner. It was small, with gray fur and big, scared eyes. Its tail wrapped around itself as if it wanted to disappear. Alex called it Scraps. Lyra, a young alien girl with blue skin and silver eyes, watched from a distance. She noticed how everyone laughed at Alex and his pet, but she also saw something else. A small shiver ran through her body. For some reason, Scraps made her feel uneasy, though she didn't know why. The commander of the station, Captain Vorn, pushed through the crowd. His sharp uniform and golden medals made him look important. He frowned at the human. "We don't allow dangerous animals here," he said in a deep voice. "What is this thing?" Alex replied quietly, "He's harmless. He just needs a safe place." Griv laughed louder. "Harmless? That thing looks like it couldn't even scare a child." But as the commander scanned the cage with his device, the screen flickered with red lights. "Warning! Unknown biological. Markers detected," the device said. Captain Vorn looked surprised. "What species is this?" Alex only answered, "He's unique." More laughter broke out, but Lyra felt a cold chill. The security AI announced, "All new life forms must be registered. If there is trouble, the animal will be removed." The threat hung in the air. Alex nodded, his eyes dark. Later, as Alex carried Scraps to his small room, whispers followed. Humans are so weird. Why keep such an ugly pet? Maybe it's a spy." Lyra stayed silent, but her mind raced with questions. That evening, as the artificial sun set and the lights dimmed, Lyra couldn't sleep. But Lyra couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Scraps' big, sad eyes. Suddenly, a low growling sound echoed from the hallway outside her room. She sat up, heart pounding. Curious, Lyra left her room and followed the noise. It led her to Alex's door, where she stopped and listened. Inside, Alex was speaking softly to Scraps. "You'll be safe here. Just a few days, buddy." But Scraps wasn't calm. He paced inside his cage, tail twitching, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Lyra's own tail stiffened, a sure sign of danger in her culture. Suddenly, the lights in the hallway flickered, and the security panel sparked with static. Lyra jumped back, startled. The station almost never had power problems. Then she heard a voice behind her. "What are you doing here, little one?" It was Captain Vorn, his face tired. Lyra quickly bowed. "I thought I heard something, sir." He glanced at Alex's door, then shook his head. "Humans and their secrets, nothing but trouble." He left, but not before warning, "If you see anything strange, report it." Lyra nodded, but her mind was already made up. She had to know what Scraps really was. As she tiptoed back to her room, she passed by the main lounge, where Griv and the other aliens still told jokes about the human and his pet. "I bet it'll run away by morning. Maybe it'll eat the wiring and short out the station." They laughed, but there was a nervous edge in their voices. Lyra looked back one last time. Through a small window in Alex's room, she saw Scraps staring right at her, unblinking. For a moment, she felt like the creature could see her soul. That night, as the station grew quiet and everyone fell asleep, something changed. Inside the cage, Scraps' eyes glowed brighter. His breathing became faster, and his claws tapped against the metal floor. The security cameras outside Alex's door flickered, then went dark. Lyra couldn't sleep. In her dreams, she saw shadows moving, and a whisper in her mind said, "Be careful. The nightmare is awake." And so, the story of Orbitus Prime's most unwelcome arrival began not with a bang, but with a shiver that nobody could explain. Mockery turns to fear. The next morning on Orbitus Prime was nothing like the last. Instead of laughter, the halls echoed with worried voices and hurried footsteps. Something was wrong. Griv, the loud lizard-like alien who laughed the most at Alex's pet, woke up to find his favorite snack pile missing from his locker. He grumbled and blamed the cleaning bots. But when he bent down, he noticed long, thin scratches on the metal floor near his bed, scratches that were never there before. His scales prickled with unease. Meanwhile, in the control room, Captain Vorn argued with the security AI. Why did the cameras outside the humans' room go offline last night? He demanded. The AI replied, "System malfunction. Unknown biological interference detected. Repairs required." Vorn cursed under his breath. He did not like mysteries, especially those that involved humans and their strange pets. Down in his tiny quarters, Alex checked on Scraps. The little creature huddled in the far corner of its cage, but something about him was different. His fur looked thicker, his eyes brighter. He seemed a bit bigger. Alex frowned, reaching through the bars. Scraps pressed his head into Alex's hand, making a soft rumbling sound. Outside, a group of aliens had gathered again, but now they weren't laughing, they were whispering. "Did you hear about the missing food? I saw the security lights flicker near the humans' room. My friend swears she heard scratching on her door at midnight. Their jokes from yesterday had faded, replaced by fear." Only Lyra stood alone by the wall, watching Alex and Scraps with thoughtful eyes. A sudden scream split the air. It was Griv, running out of his room, clutching his arm. His scales were scratched, and thin trails of blue blood oozed between his claws. "Something was in my room. It growled at me. I saw its eyes bright as plasma." He shouted. Everyone looked. At Alex. "It must be your pet," shouted another alien, a short one with 6 arms. "You brought a monster." Alex stood up slowly. Scraps was locked in his cage all night. He couldn't have left. Captain Vorn pushed through the crowd, his hand on his blaster. "We'll check the security logs. If your animal is causing trouble, human, you'll both be thrown out the airlock." Alex felt the tension rising. He knelt beside Scraps and spoke softly. "You're scaring them, buddy. Calm down. No one's here to hurt you." Scraps made a deep, almost sad sound, then curled up tighter in his cage. Lyra waited until the others left, then walked up to Alex. "What is he?" she whispered. Alex hesitated. "He's not dangerous unless he feels threatened. His species, they change. When they're scared, they get stronger, smarter." Lyra looked worried. "What happens if everyone here stays scared?" Alex looked away. "He evolves faster." That day, the joke stopped completely. Every little noise made the crew jump. The station's lights flickered, and cold winds crept through the vents. Scraps watched everything, his big eyes never blinking. That night, Lyra couldn't sleep. She kept her door locked and sat with her back against the wall, holding a small stunner for comfort. Suddenly, her lights blinked out. In the darkness, she heard soft tapping like claws on metal moving down the hall. She held her breath. Outside, Griv and his friends tried to set a trap. They smeared fresh food on the floor and hid behind crates, holding nets and stun sticks. "If we catch it, the commander will make us heroes," one whispered. But the night passed without a sound. In the morning, the food was gone, but the trap was untouched. Instead, Griv found another message scratched into the wall. "Stop." Panic began to spread. Captain Vorn called an emergency meeting. Until we understand what is happening, no one goes near the human's room. No more jokes, no more traps. Stay in groups and keep doors locked. But even as he spoke, the lights dimmed again, and the security AI stuttered, "Warning. Unidentified lifeform activity detected in lower corridors. System integrity compromised." Alex sat quietly in his room, watching Scraps. The little creature's fur rippled, and his body pulsed with strange light. Alex's hand trembled as he whispered, "What are you becoming?" Lyra watched him from the doorway. "Are you afraid?" she asked. Alex looked up, his face pale. "For everyone here, yes." In the shadows, Scraps opened his eyes. They glowed in the dark, reflecting the fear in every heart aboard Orbitus Prime. For the first time, no one was laughing. And deep in the vents, something was crawling, growing. Learning, waiting for its next move. The first Victon night on Orbitus Prime was never truly dark. The lights always glowed faintly, security drones buzzed softly, and even the deepest corners were rarely silent. But on this night, something moved through the shadows, something that did not belong. Griv, the lizard-like alien, could not sleep. He kept checking the new scratches on his arm, remembering those glowing eyes he'd seen in his room. His fear grew with every creak and hiss from the station's metal walls. He locked his door, put a heavy crate against it, and told himself he was safe, but the air was colder than usual. Griv heard a faint rattling above his head. He looked up and saw the air vent cover trembling, like something was crawling inside. Suddenly, two bright eyes flashed behind the vent's grid. Griv's heart skipped a beat. "No, not again," he whispered. Before he could scream, the vent burst open. Something fast, gray, and low to the ground shot across the ceiling, landing in the shadows behind his bed. Griv reached for his communicator, but a deep growl filled the room. He froze, unable to move. Outside, the station was silent. No one heard Griv's final cry. The next morning, Lyra woke up early, her head filled with bad dreams. She checked the hall and noticed a group of aliens whispering and blocking Griv's door. The commander stood nearby, his face pale and angry. "Open it," he ordered. The door slid open slowly. Griv was gone. Only his communicator remained, crushed and covered in slime. The air vent above his bed was torn open, and fresh claw marks covered the walls. The only clue was a single gray tuft of fur on the pillow. Panic spread quickly. "Where is Griv? Who did this?" The crew shouted, looking at each other with wide, scared eyes. Captain Vorn turned to Alex, who was already standing in the hall, with Scrap's cage at his feet. The little creature's eyes glowed with an unnatural light, and he seemed larger than before, his fur bristling, his claws sharper. "You promised your pet was harmless," Vorn yelled. Alex looked tired. "He's never hurt anyone unless they're a threat. Someone must have scared him last night." The six-armed alien pointed at Scraps. "He's changing. He's growing faster. Make him stop." But Alex shook his head. "It's too late. He senses fear. He protects himself. If you hurt him, he'll defend himself." The commander barked orders. "Lock down the human and his pet. Double the patrols. No one walks alone." But as security teams rushed through the station, the lights flickered and the security AI stuttered. "Warning. Multiple systems offline. Unknown biological interference spreading." Lyra watched everything, fear turning to curiosity. When no one was looking, she slipped away. Following Alex, she found him in the cargo hold, sitting beside Scrap's cage. "Why is he doing this?" she asked. Alex didn't answer right away. He watched Scraps, whose body now pulsed with glowing energy, fur shifting and swirling like smoke. "He's not just an animal. His kind are survivors. They change to match danger. If you mock him, if you scare him, he'll become your worst nightmare." Lyra's hands shook. "Can you stop him?" Alex's voice was soft. "Maybe, but I need help, someone who's not afraid. Back in the main hall, the remaining crew members argued and blamed each other. No one trusted anyone. They watched the shadows, jumped at every sound, and checked their doors twice before locking them. That night, a new rule spread across Orbitus Prime. Never go anywhere alone. But the station was changing. The lights stayed. Dim, the air felt heavier. And somewhere in the darkness, Scraps moved quietly, growing smarter, learning every corner and every weakness. Lyra sat with Alex and watched the little creature. For a moment, Scraps met her eyes. She saw not a monster but something scared, something pushed too far. I'm not afraid, she whispered. Alex looked at her and nodded. Then you might be the only friend we have left. Deep in the station, alarms blared and then went silent, one by one. The hunt had begun and nobody could laugh anymore. Nightmares in the shadows. Orbitus Prime was no longer the busy, cheerful place it had once been. Fear hung in the air like a thick fog. The halls that once echoed with laughter were now silent, except for the occasional nervous whispers and hurried footsteps. Every alien on the station was now on edge. Some carried stun guns, others sharp metal tools. A few refused to leave their rooms, peeking out only to grab food before slamming their doors shut. Every flicker of light, every strange sound made them jump. Captain Vorn tried to show strength. Security teams patrol in pairs. Check every corner. We will find the human's monster and bring back order. But deep inside, even he was afraid. Lyra moved carefully through the halls, her heart beating fast. She was searching for Alex. She was the only one who still believed there might be hope. Most of the others now whispered dark stories about Scraps, the pet who turned into a nightmare. In one hallway, Lyra found a frightened engineer with trembling antennae. It's in the shadows, he whispered. I saw two eyes shining, watching me from the vent. Then the lights went out and... He shivered, unable to finish. Lyra offered him a gentle hand, but he shrank away. The fear had spread like a sickness. Meanwhile, Alex sat with Scraps in a hidden storage room. Scraps was now twice his original size, his fur darker, his claws longer. When Alex touched him, Scraps trembled, not with anger, but with fear. It's okay, buddy, Alex whispered. We'll get through this. But outside the door, shadows moved. Suddenly, alarms blared. Intruder alert! Intruder alert! Red lights flashed. Security bots rolled past, their sensors sweeping for any sign of Scraps. Captain Vorn's voice came over the loudspeakers. We have one chance to catch the creature. All units converge on Section 9. But in Section 9, chaos exploded. 2 security bots sparked and fell over, their circuits fried. A patrol team fired stun rounds into the darkness, but their shots hit nothing. Something unseen slipped between the shadows, too fast to catch. Doors slammed shut by themselves. Control panels sparked with static. All the lights in Section 9 went out at once. Screams echoed through the dark. When the emergency lights returned, one more alien was gone, vanished without a trace, except for fresh scratches on the wall and a strange musky smell in the air. The crew panicked. Some tried to escape to the upper decks, but the elevators failed. Others crowded together in the cafeteria, locking the doors and watching the shadows creep under the tables. The brave ones joined Captain Vorn in hunting for Scraps, but every step filled them with dread. Through it all, Lyra searched for Alex. She finally found him and Scraps in the storage room, hiding behind crates. We need to do something, she said, voice trembling. Everyone's scared. They're hunting you and Scraps. They'll never stop. Alex looked tired, his eyes red. I know, but if they corner us, Scraps will fight back. He's not a monster, Lyra. He's just scared. All this fear. It's making him evolve faster. He doesn't want to hurt anyone. Lyra nodded, trying to stay strong. Then we have to help him, and we have to help them too. Suddenly, Scraps' ears pricked up. He let out a deep, vibrating growl, his eyes glowing like two moons. Heavy footsteps pounded outside the storage room. Captain Vorn and his team. "This is your last warning, human," Vorn shouted. "Surrender the beast, or we blast down the door." Alex stepped in front of Scraps, hands raised. "Don't hurt him. He only attacks when he's afraid." But the security team aimed their blasters. The lights above flickered, and for a moment, everything went still. Then from the vent above, Scraps sprang into action. He moved like lightning, too fast to see, a blur of claws and teeth. The blasters fired wildly, but Scraps dodged every shot, melting into the shadows. The team shouted in terror, scattering as the storage room filled with chaos. Lyra screamed, but Alex grabbed her hand and pulled her to safety. "Come on, we have to reach the control room. It's the only safe place left." They ran through twisting corridors as the station shook with fear. Behind them, Scraps vanished once again, his growls echoing through the vents, reminding everyone this was now his domain. In the main lounge, a single message flashed on every screen, written in bright, alien letters: "Stop hunting me," or "The nightmare will never end." Orbitus Prime was no longer a safe home. Now it was a maze of shadows and fear, where the difference between predator and prey was just a heartbeat away. The turning point for 2 days, Orbitus Prime became a prison. Every door was locked. Every screen showed security alerts. The fear grew so thick that it felt hard to breathe. Nobody trusted anyone, not even friends. The loudest sound on the station was the beating of terrified hearts. In the cafeteria, a group of frightened aliens huddled together. They whispered stories about Scraps, the human nightmare. Some claimed he could move through walls. Others swore they saw him shapeshift into shadows. Many wanted Alex gone, but none of them were brave enough to face Scraps alone. In the upper corridor, Lyra moved quietly, searching for Alex and Scraps. She carried no weapon, just a small piece of sweet fruit, something she hoped would show Scraps she was not a threat. As she turned the corner, she almost bumped into Captain Vorn and a squad of security officers. They wore heavy armor, and their faces were pale with worry. "We are moving out tonight," Vorn announced. "We corner the human and his pet. We end this chaos. Anyone who helps the human will be punished." Some crew nodded, but most looked at the floor, too afraid to speak. Lyra made her decision. She turned away, slipping down a side hall to the old storage deck. There, she found Alex crouched beside Scraps, who was now bigger than a large dog. Scraps' eyes glowed, but when he saw Lyra, he didn't growl. He tilted his head and sniffed the air. Lyra knelt down and gently rolled the fruit towards him. Scraps sniffed, then slowly ate it from her hand. Alex smiled, his voice soft. "He trusts you. You're not afraid. That matters more than you think." Outside, heavy footsteps thundered on the metal floor. The security squad was coming closer. "Alex, you have to go," Lyra whispered. "The crew will attack you tonight." Alex nodded. "But we can't. Just keep hiding. Scraps is growing too strong. If they attack, he'll defend himself and people will get hurt. There has to be another way." Lyra thought hard. Suddenly she had an idea. What if the crew saw Scraps differently? What if they saw that he only hurts those who mean him harm? Alex frowned. "How?" Lyra took a deep breath. "We use me as bait. I'll walk into the open. You follow with Scraps, but keep him close. The crew will see I'm safe with him. I'll show them there's nothing to fear if they don't attack." Alex hesitated. "It's dangerous. If anything goes wrong," she put a hand on his arm. "It's our only chance. Let's show them Scraps can be gentle if we are kind." That evening the plan began. Lyra walked into the main lounge alone. Her heart raced, but she kept her head high. The crew stared in shock as Alex followed, holding Scraps by his collar. Scraps' fur shimmered in the light. his eyes alert but calm. Captain Vorn and the security team aimed their weapons. "Stay back," he barked. Lyra stood between them and Scraps. "Enough. We created this nightmare with our fear and anger. Scraps is scared, not evil. See? He's not hurting me. He's only dangerous if you attack." The room fell silent. Some aliens lowered their weapons. Others still looked terrified. Suddenly, a small group of crew members, those who wanted Alex, gone the most, stepped forward, holding metal pipes and nets. They shouted, "Monster, kill it now!" and rushed forward. Scraps reacted instantly. He leapt between Lyra and the attackers, his body growing even larger, claws out, eyes glowing red. The attackers froze as Scraps growled a deep, terrible sound, but he did not attack. He stood his ground, blocking them but not harming anyone. Lyra spoke loudly, her voice trembling. "See? He's protecting, not hunting. He doesn't want to hurt us unless we hurt him first." One of the attackers dropped his weapon and fell to his knees, sobbing, "I'm sorry. I was just scared." The others hesitated, and slowly the weapons lowered. Captain Vorn watched. Uncertain. Alex gently pulled Scraps back. "We can live together, but you must let go of fear. Treat Scraps with respect, and he'll never harm you." A heavy silence filled the lounge. Then, for the first time in days, someone laughed, not out of cruelty, but out of relief. From that moment, the mood on Orbitus Prime began to change. Some crew members, like Lyra, started to believe, but others still carried fear in their hearts. They whispered, "What if Scraps grows even more? What if kindness isn't enough?" And in the darkness of the cargo hold, Scraps' eyes glimmered with something new. Not just fear, but understanding, a sign that this nightmare could end, or become something even more powerful. Facing the nightmare for the first time in days, hope and fear battled side by side on Orbitus Prime. Some crew members started to trust Scraps, the human's once tiny pet. Others kept their doors double locked, still haunted by shadows and memories of missing friends. But the station was changing. Strange, cold winds blew through the vents. Lights blinked and doors jammed. The security AI's voice sometimes turned scratchy, as if something else was listening in. Captain Vorn tried to keep control, but everyone could see he was losing his grip. His face was thinner, his eyes restless. He didn't sleep anymore. At meetings, he barked orders, but most crew followed Lyra's example now, watching Scraps closely instead of reaching for their weapons. One evening, a new emergency began. The main generator, a massive heart that powered all of Orbitus Prime, started to fail. The lights went out across the lower decks, leaving long pitch-black tunnels. The only thing still running was the old manual override in the control room. Lyra rushed to find Alex, breathless with worry. "If we lose power, the whole station will freeze. We'll lose oxygen. The only one who can fit through the vent too. The backup controls is Scraps." Alex nodded, then knelt beside his evolving friend. Scraps had changed again. Now he was long and sleek, with sharp claws perfect for climbing and strong jaws built for chewing through anything. "Can you help us, boy?" Alex whispered. Scraps nudged Alex's hand, eyes clear and sharp. He understood. Lyra opened the vent, and Scraps slipped inside, moving like a shadow down the tunnel. His fur shimmered in the dark, nearly invisible, but he was not alone. In the black corridors, two frightened crew members, still afraid, still angry, tried to block Scraps' path. One threw a metal bar, the other fired a weak stun gun. Scraps dodged, but in a flash of instinct, he bared his teeth and roared. The sound shook the tunnel, and the two crew dropped their weapons, running away in terror. Lyra and Alex watched on the security monitor as Scraps reached the control room. With his claws, he pried open the stuck door, then tapped the override switch with a single swipe. The power flickered, then returned, lighting up Orbitus Prime once again. Cheers erupted from the safe rooms. For a moment, everyone breathed easier. Scraps had saved them, but Captain Vorn was not finished. He saw the recording of Scraps' roar and shouted, "See, it's still a monster. If it can save us, it can destroy us. We must end this now." Vorn ordered his last loyal security bots to hunt Scraps, no matter what it cost. Lyra ran to warn Alex, who hugged Scraps tightly. "You did good, buddy, but it's not over." Suddenly, the loudspeakers blared. "Attention! Intruder threat. At Central Core. Lockdown in progress." Red lights flashed as metal doors slammed shut, separating Alex and Lyra from the rest of the crew. Scraps, now trapped in the vent, heard the stomping of security bots. With a growl, he smashed through the metal grate, landing in the middle of the main hall. Between Vorn's team and the terrified crew, for a tense moment, nobody moved. Vorn raised his blaster, shouting, "Now, take it down." But something was different. Scraps didn't attack. He crouched, protecting Alex and Lyra behind him, and let out a low, sad sound, almost a whimper. Lyra saw the fear in his eyes. He was done fighting. He just wanted peace. "Stop!" Lyra shouted, pushing past Scraps. She faced Vorn, trembling but unafraid. "Can't you see? He's not the nightmare we are. Our fear, our hate, made him this way." Vorn's hand shook. He looked at the rest of the crew, some still afraid, some looking at Scraps with new respect. Alex gently sang an old human lullaby. The melody echoed through the hall, calming Scraps. Slowly, Scraps' body shrank, fur settling down, eyes growing. Softer, he curled up next to Alex, exhausted. The tension broke. Someone dropped their weapon. A sigh rippled through the crowd. The nightmare, it seemed, had finally stopped chasing them. But as the lights flickered one last time, a question remained. Could the crew ever truly trust Scraps or themselves? Redemption or ruin? A strange stillness settled over Orbitus Prime. For the first time in days, the station was quiet, not with fear, but with a heavy sense of waiting. In the main hall, Scraps rested beside Alex, his breathing slow and calm. Lyra sat close, watching over both of them, her blue skin pale with worry, but her eyes hopeful. Captain Vorn stood at a distance, weapons lowered. Around him, the crew gathered, uncertain. Their faces held questions. Was the nightmare over? Could they trust the human and his pet again? The silence broke with a soft beep from the security eye. All systems normal. No intruder activity detected. Life support stable. Lyra was the first to speak. She rose and looked around at her crewmates. "Scraps saved us. He fixed the generator. He protected us, even when we were cruel and afraid. Maybe we need to change too." A murmur swept through the crowd. The oldest engineer stepped forward, trembling. "I was afraid," he said. "I thought Scraps would destroy us. But we nearly destroyed ourselves." "I am sorry, Alex. I am sorry, Scraps." Slowly others joined. One by one, the crew placed gifts, a fruit, a blanket, a shiny bolt near Scraps. These small tokens meant more than words, a sign of trust, of peace. Scraps sniffed the gifts, then wagged his tail. The glow in his eyes faded to a gentle light. Captain Vorn hesitated, torn between pride and fear. He finally approached Alex. The station was nearly lost. "But you and your pet, you showed us our own darkness." He extended his hand. "If you stay, there must be rules. Scraps must be registered and monitored. But you both have earned your place here." Alex nodded, tears in his eyes. "Thank you. We just wanted to belong." As the days passed, life slowly returned to normal. Scraps was allowed to wander the halls, always under Alex or Lyra's watchful eye. The crew learned not to shout or threaten him. Some were still nervous, but most tried to be kind. The children loved Scraps most, bringing him treats and drawing silly pictures of him as a hero. One evening, Lyra sat with Alex in the lounge, watching Scraps nap in a sunbeam. Do you think he'll ever be just a normal pet again? She asked quietly. Alex smiled. Maybe not, but maybe that's okay. Sometimes what we fear the most just wants to be understood. News of the incident spread across other stations. Some called it a miracle, others a warning. For the crew of Orbitus Prime, it was a lesson. Respect every creature, no matter how small or how strange. But as peace settled, a final secret lingered. In the darkness beneath the station, the cameras sometimes caught a flicker, a pair of glowing eyes watching, waiting. Not scraps, but something else. Perhaps another creature, drawn by fear and loneliness. Perhaps just a shadow left behind by old nightmares. Orbitus Prime was safe again. But everyone remembered, kindness could tame even the wildest nightmares. But only if they dared to face their own fears first. And in the warm glow of the stations lights, Scraps dreamed not of running or fighting, but of family, trust, and new beginnings.